is called Time Zero, and it's a young adult book. Can you hear me above the air conditioning? Okay. So it's a young adult book, it's dystopian, and it's about a 15-year-old girl named Mina who is living in a New York City that has been taken over by fundamentalists. And quickly I'm going to read the author's note. The religion that governs the city in Time Zero is fictional, yet I've taken its rules from various religions around the world, including those that originate in the United States. Each rule Mina follows is governing the life of a girl somewhere in the world right now. So I thought before I did a reading that we might have a little quiz about fundamentalism to get things started. So don't worry, it's true false. True or false? Girls in Texas can be married at the age of 12. I want you to raise your hand if that is true. Girls in Texas can be married at the age of 12. Who thinks that's true? Interesting. It is false. With judicial consent, a girl in Texas may be married at the age of 13. In Massachusetts, the girl can be 12. So don't let people give you such a hard time about Texas, you guys. Okay, true or false, members of certain fundamentalist Mormon communities are not allowed to wear the color red. Raise your hand if that's true. True. Sect leader Warren Jeffs preaches that when Jesus Christ returns, he'll do so in a red robe, and that wearing that color before the second coming is unholy. True or false? Under Taliban rule, women can only see female doctors. You raising your hand? That's actually false. It's a bit of a trick question. Since the Taliban does not allow women to work, female doctors are banned from practicing. Male doctors examine women through a hole in a sheet.
Like a glory hole?
Yeah.
Oh.
True story. Except not. True or false, in the south of Mali, women need to ask their husband's permission to leave the house. Raise your hand if that's true. That is true. Under the new family code of 2012, a woman must obey her husband and obtain his authorization to leave their home. True or false? 57% of Muslim Americans believe U.S. law should be based on God's law. This is false. 57% of the general American population, around 185 million people, believe right and wrong in U.S. law should be based on God's law. Over 50 million Americans believe the Bible to be the literal word of God. True or false, Islamic law and traditions support the right to education for both girls and boys. True? This is true. Most often rules that suppress women are about power and not religion. True or false, within the Amish community, women are told to wear a blindfold when they bathe. That is false. Carolyn made this one up completely. She hopes.
Just have to call back the bunker.
I know, right? She would have chuckled at that. So I'm going to read a little bit now from chapter 1. The backstory that you need is that Mina, who I mentioned is 15, it is her 15th birthday. It is also the day of her offering, which means it's a day when suitors will come to her home, and if they're interested, they might submit a contract of marriage, and her parents can decide to accept or not. She has no say in it. On this day, she has also learned from her mother that her grandmother has had an accident. She's fallen down the stairs at her apartment building. Now, this is very upsetting, not just because Nana is Mina's favorite person, and she's very, very close to her, but also because she shares a secret with her grandmother, which is that her grandmother has secretly been teaching her how to read, and it's illegal for girls to get an education. And Nana made Mina promise if anything ever happened to her, the first thing Mina had to do was to go to her apartment and get their primer, this piece of paraphernalia, this reading material, out of her apartment, because they'd both be in a lot of trouble if anyone discovered it. So she said, you have to go get this. And so Mina's struggling because it's this day of her offering. She's going to get a lot of trouble. She decides to sneak out of the apartment. She has biked as quickly as possible down to the village, and she has just arrived at her grandmother's apartment. That's where we are. I make my way across the empty lobby to the stairwell. Nana lives on the 14th floor, but the elevator doesn't work. She has a bad knee, and it's almost impossible for her to climb these stairs. That's why I bring her groceries every week. I once asked her why she couldn't just come to live with us. Given that Sakina, my best friend, lives with her parents, plus 3 of her grandparents, and they're all crammed into the apartment next to ours, it doesn't seem like a big deal for us to fit Nana in. When I brought it up, though, Nana just clucked her tongue and said it wasn't part of God's plan. I wince. If she'd been living with us, she wouldn't have tried to go down the stairs. She could have asked me to get whatever it was she suddenly needed so badly. Seeing no one else in the stairwell, I grasp the bottom of my cloak and pull it up as high as my knees. I jog the stairs as fast as I can, trying not to imagine exactly where she fell. Reaching floor 14, I pull open the heavy metal door, gasping for air. I curse when I see there's a Twitcher outside Nana's apartment. Yuck. Twitchers are the highest ranking members of the city guard. Along with their colossal handguns, always on display, they wear black jumpsuits, black gloves, and thick black helmets. Their mirrored face shields narrow into a point, making them resemble the ants that swarm the streets on garbage day. This one hasn't seen me yet, which is normal. Twitchers are all wired for downnet. They get constant news and orders sent straight to their helmets and projected inside their visor grid. Standing guard, they might seem to be doing nothing, but watch them long enough, and you'll see it, they twitch. Even their hands twitch as they type out responses to their wired gloves. They must use up half the electricity in the city. I would never call one a Twitcher to his face. I don't want to get shot. I approach the guard, lowering my gaze. I wait for him to speak first because he's male and I'm female. There's a long pause before he says, "Peace." And through the helmet, the voice is distant and metallic, as if he's speaking through a pipe. "Peace," I respond. "What are you doing here?" he demands. "Me? What's he doing here?" I keep my eyes down. I need to enter my grandmother's apartment. His head slowly moves up and down as he uses the sentence scan attached to the side of his helmet to examine me. I don't need to worry about spiritual infractions. My cloak is the proper color and length. My hair is bound. I'm not wearing makeup, nail polish, or perfume. The clothes underneath my cloak are sufficiently modest, but I squirm anyway. I hate being scanned. Does he think I'm bringing a bomb into Nana's apartment or something? Once the sense scan has told him that my DNA matches Nana's, one would think he'd let me in. Finally, the sense scan's light goes from red to green, which means I've passed. He asks, "What is your reason for entry?" "She wants her prayer beads." I ask God to forgive my lie. Another excruciatingly long pause. Part of me wants to turn around and run. His fingers twitch, so I assume he's typing in new information. The sense scan turns red again as he looks me up and down one more time. What's he checking now? All the information that exists about me in the world should have come up on his first scan. Sakina and I have spent hours speculating about how much the sense scan can see. If it can see through our cloaks, can it see through our clothes too? Are Twitchers walking around the city all day looking at naked girls? Sakina says absolutely not. The book says seeing a woman's flesh makes a man crazy with desire and turns the world into chaos. So she believes the Twitchers can't see that much, or they wouldn't be able to control themselves. I guess I agree with her, but it's not making me feel any better as the sense scan creeps down my body for the second time. Finally, the light goes green again, and the guard says, "I'm surprised she would own prayer beads." Why? What does that mean? Was he checking Nana's records too? I search for something to say. She uses them every time she prays, and I'm sure they'll help with her healing, God willing. After pausing again, he says, "There's no light." At first it seems like a religious message, and then I realize he's talking about the apartment. He says, "There was a report of looting, so we turned off the electricity to discourage anyone else." I nod my head. He stands to the side, and I can see that the lock on the door has been broken. "Keep it quick," he says. When I enter the living room, the only light comes from the open door behind me. Nana covers her windows with old cardboard. Even 14 stories up, she's afraid of being watched. I expect to see chaos, a ransacked room, but everything seems intact. Glancing to my right into the kitchen, I can see cupboards flung open and pots and pans on the floor. The looters must have been searching for food, so maybe we're okay. I can't have the Twitcher watching me, so I shut the door behind me, plunging myself in the blackness. I hear Nana's voice say, "You can do this. You been in this apartment hundreds of times. From memory, I walk to Nana's comfy flowered chair. Her scent permeates it, and for a moment I pause and breathe her in. Warm bread, jasmine soap, and the mint salve she uses on her knee. I want to hug the air that she's left behind. I shove my hand under the seat cushion, and there it is. Praise God. I pull it out, and after brief consideration, I pull up my cloak and stick the primer in the back of my cotton pants, praying that the twitcher doesn't decide to scan me again. I'm about to head for the front door when I remember the prayer beads. Nana keeps them with her jewelry, but getting to her hiding spot is going to be a little complicated in the dark. Shuffling around her armchair, arms in front of me, I aim for what I think is the bathroom. I overshirt to the right, stubbing my toe on the wall. I stifle a small cry, then feel along the wall until I reach the door. Once I felt the edge of the door, I drop to the ground. Feeling the bathroom tile beneath me, I crawl on all fours until I reach the cabinet underneath the sink. It's closed, which is a good sign. Hopefully, whoever sacked the apartment didn't think they would find anything worthwhile in here. I open the cabinet, feeling around with my hands. I touch toilet paper, some sort of metal can, something bristly, a toilet brush, disgusting. And then my hand lands on the simple cardboard box I'm looking for. I pull it out and stick my hand inside. Nana always says that no man will touch anything that has to do with feminine products. That's why she keeps her values in a tampon box. She thinks that this is especially entertaining now that she is well past her menses. A man's embarrassment will keep him from considering basic biology, she says. I hear the front door open, a voice booming inside. You've had long enough. All I found is a tangle of necklaces and earrings. Coming now, sir. Why are you taking so long? All of a sudden, the twitcher is standing in the entrance to the bathroom, holding a flashlight whose batteries alone must be worth 2,000 BTUs. Looking for fuel to steal? No, I just can't find the beads. Stepping into the bathroom, the guard snatches the tampon box away from me. Using the beam from his flashlight to sift quickly through the jewelry, he finds the prayer beads in no time. For a second, I'm relieved, but then he pulls out Nana's opal ring and sticks it in his own pocket. I'm horrified. Time to leave now, he orders. I follow him out, and once we're in the hallway, he shoves the prayer beads in my face. It will be a good recovery, God willing. God willing, I echo. I grab the beads, but I still can't believe he's taken Nana's ring. And what's to stop him from going back inside and stealing the rest of her jewelry? I want to ask him how a man of God can justify such an action, but the contraband I'm concealing is too valuable. Bowing low and muttering peace, I start to walk away from him backward, in case the shape of the primer is visible underneath my cloak. He says peace in response, but he's no longer paying attention to me. He's already receiving new data, uploading information, and plugging back into the world of men. I reach the exit, spin, shove the door open, and run down the stairs. When I reach the 10th floor, I pause for a moment and look back up the stairwell to make sure he isn't following me. When I'm certain the coast is clear, I try to catch my breath. Am I dizzy from the running or from the number of laws I've broken today? Looking out the large windows, I can almost see the whole city. It must be close to midday because the sun is high in the sky, reflecting off buildings in Midtown, so bright that the light sucks the color out of everything, making sidewalks and cars glow white. I can see all the way to the fields in the park, to the canals on the west side and the pig farms on the east. The wall blocks my view of the river. Father once told me the wall is over 70 feet high, reaching around the entire island. It keeps us safe from the apostates and brought peace after the dividing. But I wish I could see the water and the land on the other side. What's going on over there? Is there anyone left? What I would really like to see is the famous statue that once greeted so many immigrants. Nana told me she was called the Statue of Liberty. At least, she was before the prophet removed her head.